Welcome to the Fabric of America, the podcast that celebrates small businesses and the remarkable stories that weave our communities together. We're your hosts, Melissa Otto
and Matt Banover.
Matt is a fashion designer passionate about storytelling through style.
And Melissa is a seamstress on a mission to make sewing cool again and inspire the next generation. We sit down with small business owners, artisans, and dreamers to uncover the stories behind their brand, what inspires them, challenges them, and keeps them creating.
Because we believe that behind every idea, every design, every stitch, there's a story worth sharing. So grab a drink from your favorite local shop and join us as we weave together conversations about passion, perseverance, and the power of small business.
I feel that if somebody was to say, what are some of the most common things that come up on this podcast? Matt harping on Instagram and social media would be would be one of them.
Okay. It's going to now become a theme woven through every episode of this. Yeah.
But I love it because also the people that you meet, and we've met amazing people. I mean, like literally, the argument is pretty much sound that the only reason you and I have a relationship is because of social media.
Yeah,
We
technically.
met, you know, like without Facebook, without Instagram, neither of us would not know of the other, like have stayed in touch because we
what
met.
we were doing, right? And
Yeah,
then
we met whatever 20 years ago, and
correct.
here we are. And lo and behold, you find this great human being on
Years
Instagram.
weeks ago, like just to paint the picture of like this is how the internet. We're not going to get into this again, but this was a great social media relationship connection. So Joshua from Cross Stitch in Cambria came across my feed. And I'm like, who is this guy? He's amazing. Like he rocks. I'm a Coheed and Cambria fan, which we will get into in our discussion, but that is a band for those of you who don't know. And so I immediately knew the reference and I clicked, and he's this rockin' badass dad who cross stitches in sort of this like hyper artistic, I'm gonna almost call it gothic type of manner while listening to various rock music stylings, and he was just so cool. And I'm like, I gotta talk to this guy. So I reached out to him totally on a whim, not sure if he would be interested, and he was totally game for coming on the podcast and talking about this granny hobby, as we call it, of cross stitching and what it's like being a young man in that field.
Yeah, it was such a fun interview. And I mean, it feels wrong even calling it an interview.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
always
just
just a conversation.
it was just a conversation with a rad dude. Like we just chopped it up. I mean, immediately we just get into what t-shirt he's wearing, and then we talk about, where this all kind of came from, the joys of Instagram. We take a weird route where you and him were going off about music. I had no
Don't
idea.
understand. Oh
Yeah,
god.
and then we got really deep. Like many tears were shed on all parties.
Oh,
Um,
you
it
guys are
was
making me emotional.
yeah. He's a very emotional dude. See,
He's a
he's probably a Pisces like me in my fifis.
jeez. Joshua, reach back out to us. We're gonna find out your sign. And
Yeah, let's clarify. If he is, that will be ridiculous.
he's into tarot though, which you'll
Yeah.
find out more about. So he's one of us witchy people.
Yes, seriously. I feel like this is like a bit now. You're just trying
Oh,
to find
trolling
people.
you now. We're
You're
just
just trying to find these people. But this was such just a nice conversation with a great guy. And we cannot wait for you to listen. So please, without further ado, dive into our conversation with Joshua.
Are you wearing a Motorhead t-shirt?
No, it's
Oh, okay.
Nosferatu.
Okay.
I mean, Motorhead's cool.
Just as good. Matt just saw the new one actually not too long ago.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's what this one is. There's a whole thing on the back. There's this there's this girl on Instagram. She does a lot of fashion, like vampire fashion and stuff like this. And she had this shirt on, and I went, "Oh, where did you get that?" Because I couldn't find it at all. I'm pretty techy that I can do a Google image search and I can find what I'm looking for. I couldn't find this shirt, so she finally commented back, and it's just some dude that makes T-shirts. He doesn't have like a big website, doesn't have a big following at all. So I was like, I'll support you.
That's
Excellent.
awesome. I love that. Yeah, because you came on, I was doing a deep dive on your Instagram. I was like, all right, if I'm gonna wear a t-shirt, this is gonna be the day. Because so I got my Batman t-shirt on just for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I didn't
This is
know.
the
Go ahead.
yeah, this is the first episode where I'm not in a button-down shirt. And it
I
just
was like, I saw the way you guys dress, and I'm like, I don't. It's just I don't dress nice unless I have to. I'm just a T-shirt dude.
no, this is yeah, I mean, this is perfect. This is our early episodes, Melissa and I would break down our outfits. And we're very big on, I mean, it's literally the foundation that I built my business, but Melissa agrees with it is that like the way you dress tells a story about who you are. And that story doesn't need to be dressed to the nines. It just needs to represent you. Like
Yeah.
Steve Jobs has more style than anybody walking a runway, because his style is so iconically him. And the same way people who wear like band t-shirts with like a flannel, like grunge 90s, it's like I can't imagine you shopping, but I also everything you're wearing looks so you. Like they're those people. So, we just want people to be comfortable, wear what they want. And yeah, I think when we do the in-person interviews, the stakes are a little higher.
Oh yeah, yeah.
People want to dress up a little bit more, but no, I was about to come on here with like a flannel, but then I was like, you know what? No, let me just go for it. This
Just a
gonna
T-shirt. Yeah.
appreciate the Batman t-shirt. But I also wanted to do this because your big thing is the dichotomy between what you do and who you are.
Yeah.
And that I find fascinating because it's come up a few times here also because we interview a lot of people in the retail world, in the fashion world, and they're often not what is thought of when you think of fashion or retail.
Mhm.
Like we had on our shirt manufacturer, and he's tattooed up, grizzly beard, just a cool like biker type of dude. Melissa and I are like young, and we're not like these, old Italian people who are hemming people's pants and
Well, speak for yourself, but
old, youngish. Yeah. So and for me, I mean, I have a jacket. I have a bespoke blazer that has all Batman the Animated Series lining on the inside of it.
Nice.
And so like I'm always trying to if you go in my studio, there's a bunch of Batman stuff everywhere. And I'm always trying to show people like, listen, it's not all pinstripes and boardrooms. Like you can put your personality into how you dress, and
Mhm.
in turn affects how you do the rest of your life. So I wanted to kind of get into you a little bit of just that, the blending of those two worlds. You've kind of niched down and just like, niche down so specifically. And I mean, this is why people say like niche down as much as possible because the more specific you get, the broader the audience, weirdly.
Mhm.
And I mean, you did it brilliantly. So like what kind of take us through like the beginning and like where we're at
Okay.
now.
Well, on point of me wearing just a T-shirt, I've had plans to changing. I had this. I don't know if you saw on my feed. I got a vessel from Sleep Token Project that's a full coverage, and I've been working on this thing for a year, and I just knocked out the math real quick. Maybe 20,000 stitches. It's taken me about 2 weeks. I found that I missed 10 stitches at the bottom. So everything above it is messed up. So I've been sitting here right across from my computer is just a mess. I've been ripping stitches for the past 2 hours.
Oh.
The second I caught it, I literally I put everything down and I just sat there like, I just wasted so much time. And now I have to spend at least a couple days to rip this all out. And
Oh
I
my.
just made the post today of like a big picture, overall picture of the whole project. So now when I look at it, I'm gonna go, that's my messed up part right there. That's not where I fixed it. So it's
Oh
just gonna
my
haunt me for a
god.
while. But but yeah, um, I started cross stitching. I was probably 5 or 6. My mom was pregnant with my brother, and I was sitting there watching cartoons, and my mom's sitting there just cross stitching. And then I walked over to her and I said, "Mom, what are you doing?" And she goes, "Cross stitching." And then I go, "Can you show me how to do it?" So my mom doesn't care that I'm a 5, 6-year-old little boy. She goes, "Sure, I'm gonna show you how to cross stitch."
Mhm.
And she showed me a couple. She let me do a couple of the stitches, and I must have lost interest. Went back to my cartoons, but it stuck with me how easy it was to do for me. So a couple years later, my mom got me a one of those kits that you get from like Michaels, because I mean we're talking early 90s. We don't really have internet yet. There is no Etsy, so you've got to go to Michaels and get this stuff. It was just a kit that had the fabric, that had the thread in it too, and I vividly remember it. It was a Native American Indian that had like a moon behind it. It was on blue fabric, and I never finished it. We don't know where it went. I asked my mom whatever happened to it. She thinks that she lost it. 2025 now, I did a Google image search, just typing in Native American, and I ended up finding the thing, and I can buy it on eBay for like $50. But I remember trying to stitch it, and back then when I was younger, I wasn't as clean on the back as I am now. So I never trimmed my threads. Everything was just overlapping everything on the back. So when I started poking my needle through it, it would make a pop noise because the back is so tight. And then I ended up just giving up on that thing because that was upsetting me, that it was hurting my fingers to poke that thing through. So we lost it, and then never picked that back up. Then, because I understood the basics, I still know how to stitch. I didn't do anything for maybe quite a few years. And then my first project that I picked the hobby back up was, me and my wife have been married since 2011. So what are we at? 14 years? 14 years now, this year. And very first year, the traditional wedding gift was paper. So I bought her a star online. So you got one of those little star registry papers.
Yeah.
And then second year was cotton. So I thought to myself, well, what can I do that's a cotton piece? Well, cross stitch. I know how to cross stitch. So I actually took it down from the wall just to show it you guys. I cross stitched her this. This is what kind of really got me back going. This itty bitty little thing. Yeah. So I
The
mean,
so
it's technically it's a pattern that somebody else did, but I just changed the colors to match what we did, what we looked like, and with the pets that we had at the time. Then after that one, I started working at animal control. Uh, not animal services. I worked there for 5 years, and then I started on animal control. So I was the guy knocking on your door saying, "I'm taking your dog today because it's not nice."
yeah.
And you're going, "No, you're not." "Well, this meter." I call the police, and they're going to tell you exactly what I told you. I have great stories working in animal control.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Great stories. So on top of that is, when I was working in animal control, I was working on third shift. So that was like 9 p.m. to 7 a.m. Mostly doing bat calls, calling people calling because of bats in their house, and then we would have to test them for rabies or barking dog complaints. So we didn't get that much stuff going on. And I thought, what am I going to do to occupy my time? So I ended up, we just had our first daughter, and she was about 1 or 2. So then I got her this little pattern, this little Thomas Kinkade Little Mermaid thing. And I
What?
just did that sitting inside the van, and I cross stitched that
Oh my
just
god.
just to occupy my time.
Now, wait, sorry, just for because cross stitching is
You have to explain it to Matt. Why don't we just say
so
Okay.
so you
yeah,
got like
what exactly it
I,
is you
I've always seen the finished product,
Oh, here, I got a better one here.
but
So this one's not framed or nothing. So this is called Ada cloth. So it's like itty bitty little
Yep.
holes. So this is a 14 count Ada. They go 14, 16, 18, and then you start getting into linen, which is actual like cloth, you know? I can't do linen. My mind can't run I can't wrap my mind around that because we're supposed to go two over. So for this stuff, the Ada, you just do one little X. See right there. There's one little X. So
yeah.
for linen, you have to go over two of them. So it's still it's just me thinking about it. I don't understand how people do linen, so I just do Ada. But you make these little X's over and over and over and over, and then you just tie stuff off in the back. Try to keep it as clean as you can.
Oh my god.
But you go off of a pattern.
And
I
what is
forgot
that?
what
What's a pattern mean? Like,
Um,
is it because I don't know if this is a made up memory or I saw it on TV or something, but I feel like whatever. For the sake of the story, I'll say I had it. It was like a plastic grid, like the picture of you and your
Mhm.
wife, and it was like color coded. So it like was telling you in this, it almost like a paint by number. In this section, use a brown thread. In
Yep.
this section, use a blue thread. Is that what a pattern is?
Yes. It's the same thing. Now I can only show so much of this because I don't want to get in trouble for copyright stuff. So there's all the colors that it tells you to use.
Okay.
Yep.
And DMC is the main brand of floss that you use. So they've been using the same colors for years, which is really kind of cool to see. A family friend of my wife had a grandmother who passed away, and she contacted me asking me if I wanted some cross stitch stuff. And I said, yeah, sure. She sends me the picture, and it's a garbage bag filled with floss, which is the stuff that we use, just these things right here. I
Yep.
mean,
Yeah.
a garbage bag filled with it. So the other
Wow.
day, or like 2 weeks ago, I went through the whole thing, laid it out all on the table. And there's different brands other than DMC, but DMC is like the top tier of what you can do. And there's colors in there that I buy brand new. And I had two side by side, and they look the exact same, even though they're 40-year difference. I mean, you will get dye color changes sometimes. It happens. But for the fact that a 40-year difference between this, and they look pretty much the same, was pretty impressive.
That is
Uh,
wow. Melissa, somebody who like has been sewing your whole life, has that thought ever popped up? Like, I need to get these threads to match years
yeah.
late.
Not necessarily years later. It's always kind of in the now.
Yeah.
At trusted thread brands and not, but it also like so for sewing, you're trying to make sure that your thread is cohesive and conducive to the material that you're sewing, the
Mhm.
thickness, the fiber content, because you don't want to sew certain fibers with others because they shrink
Yeah.
differently in the wash. So there's all these things to consider when we're talking about like threads and fibers and same thing, embroidery floss and all that stuff.
Yeah. Because I've got DMC 310 is black, which I go through a lot of it.
Yeah.
But out of that entire garbage bag that she gave to me and I went through, there were only two skeins of 310. In one of them, it's black. It matches the stuff that I have now, but the texture is different to where I probably won't use it unless I'm using a very smaller project. Otherwise, you will notice a difference. But like the shine of it, you can tell there's a difference.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll suck in that bag. I won't use that unless it's a smaller project instead of a larger one where I'm going to be using old and new.
That makes sense. So you kind of started like jumping back into it as like a way to kill time, basically, right? At your like 9 to 5 job. At what point do you cross that threshold into like, this is an Instagram account and I'm just like kind of sharing it? Like, how does
Yeah,
that
funny thing on
happen?
that too. So I have a photography. I'm a photographer. My dad was a photographer. I mean, he did it old school style, manual settings, film. That blows my mind too. I'm here taking a picture, looking at an immediate. Do I need to change my settings?
Right.
Oh, I'll make this photography account, and I just do it for a hobby. I wanted to take pictures of my kids, keep track of all that, and then anything that I like. And on that Instagram account, you got your for you page or your recommended page where you're just scrolling through, looking at other people's stuff, and a guy popped up who cross stitched, and I went, "Who is this guy?" And he made a couple of pretty viral videos. He would always put those really big, um, like magnifying glasses on there. He would just be silly about it. And
Yeah.
I looked at it, and he's got like 55,000 followers, and I'm going, wait a minute, there's another guy cross stitching, and people think that's cool because I was made fun of all the time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even let like even family members. I wouldn't let know that I cross stitch. My mom and my brother was probably the only people who knew that I did it. So then, just like a year and a half ago, he was my inspiration to do it.
Wow.
I made I made an account because I don't know if you can see it. That right there, it's a giant dragon. That was my biggest project that I did at the time. And I was doing uploads of my progress every so often. And I think people got tired of seeing it on my Facebook account. So I just made an Instagram account and I put it all there. I put all my finished stuff on there. And then people just started following me and following me and following me. And I didn't realize this many people wanted to see a guy cross stitch. So then I thought, well, I'm here to show people that you don't have to genderize a hobby, a craft, just because it's a fiber, just because it's known as a granny hobby, doesn't mean that somebody, a 39-year-old guy who loves music and the sport tattoos, can't do it too.
Yeah. Love that. That is so interesting. I've got 2 points. One, I remember my mom and my grandma taught my brother and I how to knit, right? Knit, yeah, with the sticks,
Crochet? Yeah.
but with the 2 sticks. That's
Knit.
knitting. Yeah. So she taught us how to knit, and we did it for like a summer, but we literally got bullied out of it.
Oh,
Just my uncle would be like, men who knit, like just all like ranking on us. We didn't want to do it outside. But I remember we would sit there watching like TV, just like knitting. We're like, I don't know, 11 and 12. Like it was pretty young. And yeah, it was the external that kind of made us stop. I remember that.
yeah.
But then I do want to kind of focus in on this expected manliness because I run into this a lot where me being in the fashion industry, I'm assumed to be gay
Yep.
right off the bat. Second is I'm assumed, you know, a a list of things,
I'm in the same ship with you.
yeah, exactly. It's like I get random texts from people who are like, "Do these shoes go with this dress?" I'm like, "I make
I don't
custom
know.
garments. Like, what are you talking about?" You know, they're like, "What bag should I wear with it?" I'm like, "I don't know." Like the brown one. So I always am fighting this kind of expectation of where your hobby interest lies versus what's expected of that versus the very big part of it, which is the manliness. And when I've probably had no less than 10 people just straight up to my face be like, not gonna lie, I thought you were gonna be a gay guy when I first met you, and it's making this experience a little bit better that you're not. And I was like they I know, and I was, like,
Yeah.
shocked that this was a something that somebody would be comfortable saying that
Elect
they,
I
because I
find
go
an interesting double standard. So where I come from as the female in this equation, I played football on an all guys team growing up, like tackle football. And as you guys are having this conversation, I'm thinking about like women or like, feminine presenting folk in non-feminine, like non-traditionally feminine things. Think of like women mechanics or construction, or like I follow like that tile chick on Instagram who's always like the drywall chick. So I think it's different and an interesting double standard that I think when women show up in a man space, like, yes, we have a lot to prove or whatever. There's like this toughness, but it's almost like when you succeed at it or you prove that you can do it, you get a little bit of respect. And I
Yeah.
actually almost think it's even harder for a male presenting person in a traditionally feminine space, because there's always that question that sort of like follows you along of like, why are you here? What's
hmm
your angle? Or are you gay? Like, there's
Yeah.
so many weird, like, ways that people pick that apart that I think are so non-productive and not helpful to it at all.
Right.
It's an interesting dichotomy in the space. That's really strange. Never thought about that.
Like I explained to other people too. I mean, for males, if you're a gamer, if you find out there's a female gamer, all the men flock to that because they're like, "Oh no, oh that's so cool."
Yeah.
That's the niche that I think I hit with my account. They're like, "A guy who cross stitches and he's straight."
Right.
Oh,
Right. Yeah, and you're not like a 15-year-old high school passion project. I think that
yep.
also plays a part that you're just a dude, a
No,
dad.
just a dude. I work at a dairy. I've got 2 kids, and I'm complaining about my mortgage every other week.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think that is
Stitchers, they're just like us.
yeah, exactly. Let's all just take a moment to cry. Like
Like, literally,
Property taxes have gone up so much.
yeah. Yeah,
literally.
and I think that, age is something that Melissa and I have brought up many times with the people that we interview, especially in this industry. Like, many of the factories that I work with are run by 3rd generation, so they're in their 30s, maybe early 40s. A lot of these people, 50s most, but they're not this idea of clothiers where it's some 90-year-old person sewing under candlelight. It's young, vibrant people looking to infuse tech. And it's so funny because that is the majority of the industry. It's like, when do we cross over and break that stereotype and break that expectation of just like people like different things? People like random hobbies. People can do a bunch of different things. It's like how I think that the internet and especially Instagram has been so great at showing
Yes, yes.
anybody can have any random hobby. And yet there's always that shock value.
Mhm.
um it's interesting again because it's that community, then there's community gets sparked out of it. So you talked about that one person that you were inspired by, but what has like the rest of, like, do you have a community of followers? Do you have other peers? Like, what has kind of come out of all of this?
Um, the one thing I absolutely love about the fact that I made my Instagram account is the community that has welcomed me
Yeah.
because now I feel like I belong somewhere. This is something that I have been doing for so long. I'm gonna get, okay. Woo! I've been doing this for so long that I never told anybody. I just kept it to myself. And then I can finally let this all out and people welcome me and think that I'm the coolest guy in the world when I was looking up to what they were doing. That's that's what I take from it. That's what I absolutely love. That I've got people commenting me, telling me how cool it is, how cool my projects are, how well I'm doing it. That's something I'm really taking from it. But there's the Witchy Stitcher, she's kind of the what got me head diving first in. That is the she did this um tarot card project. And there's a unicorn that was one of the first 2 that she released. She did 2 aliens, which was the Lover's Tarot card, and a unicorn, which is the Death Tarot card. I am absolutely in love with unicorns. I don't know why, but I've loved unicorns since I was a little kid. So that's what drew me to that. And I was like, oh, it's a unicorn. Cool. So I downloaded it. And then I realized, oh, this is for a huge project.
Yeah.
Well, I like big projects. I had to specifically wait for her to release the fabric out because it's a 44 by 44 piece of cross stitch fabric. I mean, I have it next to me. It's a blanket. It is so big. And she's been released in a card every 2 months.
Oh wow.
But I'm probably maybe one or two, probably the only guy cross stitching the full thing. So whenever I share those, I just hashtag the heck out of it because I've noticed with me that I can sell myself very well. That's how I did my photography too. I will hashtag anything. I will tag everybody just so that I can get my product out there. And then it started catching rolling steam. And then what helps too is that me being a photographer, I'm going to pay attention to lighting. I'm going to pay attention to how everything is set up too. I'm not just going to with my phone camera.
Yeah.
With although most of the tarot card projects is my phone camera because it's just so big. No matter what I do with a good camera, my phone camera, it's just going to look the same.
Yeah.
But
You're right up Matt's alley because Matt's a social media.
I'm like waiting to bring it up.
Go ahead, Matt. Go ahead.
So another common theme that comes up is that social media does become another thing to do, and yet I'm always advocating that, well, if you make it and if you go through the lens of I'm just excited to show people what I'm excited about, it lessens the task of it all. Your pure passion, and it comes through, and
thank you.
I love it. Like, do you hit those walls sometimes, and how, because you talked about that you started this Instagram just as an outlet, but
Yeah.
does it become another thing, work, and how do you keep that creativity a priority?
One thing that I've done, and I still do, is I sit on content so that I don't feel rushed or I don't feel like upset with myself that I'm not where I want to be. I'm sitting on like 5 finished projects right now that I'm not sharing yet because it gives me that like cushion of let's say something happens in life. Let's say I've got to work a bunch of overtime at work or I got to do a bunch of things in the yard and stuff like this. So I'm not sacrificing my happiness or being stressed over, well, I got to make content. I got to make content. I got to make content.
Smart.
Yeah, that's
I gradually post stuff out. So
how often do you
that's
post a
helps me.
week?
What's that?
How often do you post a week?
Um, I will post stories constantly. Just if I see something that I think is really cool, even if it's like a 50-person account following, I'm sharing it because I think it's the coolest freaking thing in the world. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's what's cool about Instagram. You've got someone with a high following finding somebody that barely has anything and they make something cool and you can show all those people that follow you. That's what I like about Instagram. That's how like little accounts get noticed and then they can get up the big following if they want it.
Yeah,
Oh,
Melissa's really good at that. She's a big sharer
yeah.
of, like, what
Do
she
too much.
finds interesting,
I know
and
she followed me and I
Very
went,
I'm like,
oh
"Oh,
wow.
music, share it. Oh, content, share it. Oh, this thing sh I" but for me, the angle that I've always viewed it from is maybe a little old school Instagram where it's like, I want you to get to know me and all the kooky shit that I like, because then you get to know me, and then maybe you wanna do business with me because you relate. So, like, I share Real Housewives, I share all the concerts that we go to, I share my kids dance sometimes, like when like whatever. So I just try to like give you a little snippet into my life because hopefully you find that relatable and then we can work together if the time comes.
Mm.
But I want to segue now because now I got to say the word music. I want
Oh,
to
more
talk about
music.
like how this came about that how'd you come up with the name? Because I know the name and well, not everyone will because they're not cool millennials like the rest of us.
Right, right.
But yeah, so I got in as soon as I saw your name because you can I forget how you came up, but you popped in my feed and I was like, oh my God, who is this guy? I saw your name, which for the listener, it's cross stitch and Cambria. So I'll let you
Yeah.
reference, but I knew the reference. So I go follow you and I'm seeing all your like listening to death metal while doing my granny high. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy is the shit. Like Oh,
Thank
I
you.
lost my mind. I was so excited to find your account. So
And
you take
it's like
it away and talk about the musical influence.
that one reel that I made before I posted that, I was sitting at 38,000 followers or something like that. My phone blew up for 3 weeks to where it was even to the point I got tired of looking at my phone. I'm like, I wanted to be somewhat famous on Instagram. Well, now I am. All right. Um,
This is what it's like.
prior prior to that being my name on that account, it used to be backstory again. My photography account is called Don Ray Del Rio. So then my cross stitch account, I made El Ray Cross Stitch. But then I was like, no, all right. But then it popped in my head one day and I went, I freaking love Coheed. Wait a minute. Cross stitch and Cambria. Cross stitch, Coheed. It's got the same amount of syllables. I have to make this my name and I have to make sure it's mine because I don't want to be cross stitching Cambria 17 or 12.
Right,
No, I
right.
want the OG one.
Yeah.
I love it. So, for the listener that doesn't know, Coheed and Cambria is an amazing band from like late 90s, early 2000s. They've actually been around a good lot. I will admit that I'm just like a quick like snippet in time fan of like the album right before the one with the favorite house Atlantic, so I'm not super deep, but I did see them for the first time last year. It was an insane show. It was awesome. They opened up for Incubus. It was
Yep,
great.
I went to that tour. Yep.
Yeah, I went up to Boston, so it was an awesome show,
See,
and
you probably don't get to see it often because I don't show, but
nice, you got the
I
insignia
got the
tattoo,
keyword. That's their new symbol.
so
But
good.
that's man, there's something about them too. I've been following them for the longest time, even before my kids were born. So we're hitting 20 years. They're my go-to band, but it's like Sleep Token and Ghost now. I'm kind of starting to love them,
Yep.
but for different reasons. Coheed's my fun rock jam band. But
Go
Sleep Token, oh
really
god.
I feel like Ghost has had a big I know, Matt, you have no idea what the hell we're talking about. So
I think I'm pretty all right with music, but I haven't recognized one word you guys have said.
So, Ghost started popping up with some, like, friends of friends. I saw them, like, posting about this was years ago, and my husband's into all different genres of music, myself as well, and then he was like, "Oh, have you heard about Ghost?" So we started, like, getting into it a little bit, and then, I don't know if you saw this over the summer, they did something with the Paris Olympics, which was pretty
No, I didn't see that.
I believe it was that don't I'm gonna probably fuck this up. I probably just told y'all misinformation, but I swear it was them. I thought they performed with a group or like with an ensemble that did something outside of the palace there,
With the
outside of
I'm gonna
Versailles.
I'm gonna butcher the name. Georgia? It's like
Gojira. Gojira.
Gojira.
You're right. I'm
Gojira,
wrong.
yeah.
I'm sorry. It was Gojira.
Yep.
Sorry.
But still, like I
You're
remember
right. You're
waking
right.
up. I remember waking up the
It was
next day and going,
me.
that was the coolest thing ever. And I shared it on my post because I'm like, I love that.
I shared the same thing on my story. It was awesome. So it was just, but so for the listener also who doesn't know, like Gojira is this like super heavy, almost like liquid metal type of
Yeah.
band. And they were up in the windows of Versailles while there was like, I think it was either musical or acting or something going on below. It was during the Olympics. And what I found fascinating about it, again, is you're welcoming this kind of out of place band and sound into this very traditional, very
Okay.
uptight, almost conservative type of space. And a lot of people really responded very positively to it and just kind of bringing like allowing people in this space and bringing them up in what traditionally would not have been their scene, but they're super super talented and I thought it was just a really cool performance and a really cool blend of genres and folks and art and
And
everything.
that's what I love is just blended things like that together. Something that shouldn't be where it's supposed to be, but when it is, it's freaking cool.
When it works, you're like,
Yeah.
"Damn."
Yeah.
Yes, it enhances everything. So Matt, we'll get you a video of that performance for sure. But
Yeah. I'll do my homework. That
yeah.
was um so with this just kind of popped into my head. do you sell what you make? Like, what's the we talked a lot about what it does for you inward and how the connectivity with the community, but what's the outreach? Do you have an Etsy store? Do you go to markets? Do you sell in person to people? Like, what's that whole process looked like?
I've only sold a couple things, but they're little things. Somebody goes, "Hey, that's cool. Can I have that?" And I go, "Yeah, you're not gonna like how much I'm charging you because it's a lot of
Lot
work.
of work.
Lot of work." So selling finished products normally doesn't happen at all because once I give a cost of what I would charge somebody, they're not interested anymore, which I don't blame them. It's a lot of money for what I'm charging. But I mean, little projects, they'll take me hour wise, 10, 12 hours that I've got to separate, throughout days because I've got a 40 plus hour work job. I got a wife, I got kids, I got a house, I got stuff I got to do. So for me to squeeze that time in, it's going to cost.
Have you ever received, like, commissions? Has anyone approached you and be like, "Can you make me this, and what would it cost?"
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, I got two part on that. First one was me and my wife went to Cleveland. We're from Rockford near Chicago. We again call back to we give each other anniversary gifts that go in with tradition or modern. And our 13th wedding anniversary was lingerie. Was it lingerie? I think that's what it was. But anyway, we went to Cleveland, Ohio for a boudoir photo shoot.
Nice.
So she goes, "Well, do you want just your wife or do you guys want to do a couple?" So I was like, "Well, yeah, I want to do a couple. I want to be a part of it. I just want to be some creep standing there watching." So I told her, I said, "Hey, I just want to be nice. I needed to make content at the time for my account." I said, "Can I get your logo and can I cross stitch your logo and I'll just give it to you as a gift?" And that's what I did. I cross stitched her logo, Cleveland Boudoir. And when we went, I gifted it to her. And it was kind of cool for me because I took my professional camera to Ohio just to get pictures for me. And when we went to the photo shoot, I got to take professional pictures with my camera of my cross stitch in her studio. So I mean that was pretty cool. Second part was I did get reached out for someone to do their logo. They're currently still working on getting me the logo, and we agreed on a price. So I'm just waiting for that. But I seems to be I'll do logos.
Wow. So you're just operating on pure vibes. It's not
Yeah,
like a
I love stitching.
that's so sick. Like,
And what's really cool now that I've got enough people that I'm causing attention, I'm getting shares and stuff like that. I'm now getting messages from people that are just telling me that I inspire them. They love seeing what I do, so now they're picking up the craft, or they're picking it back up after not doing it for years, or they're going to start the project that I'm working on or I have finished because they like seeing that I've done it. So that's
it
a good feeling too. I like inspiring people is something that I've never been able to do. So I like that.
I think that's such a gift of the Instagram and TikTok type of thing too, because so when you and I first even started communicating, literally the number one thing you said, and I'm so glad you just like spit this out. We didn't even have to ask the question because I was trying to figure out how to like weave that into the conversation. But you immediately were like, if I can get anybody into the fiber arts, I'm there. And like that you kind of said that at every point that you and I have chatted behind the scenes, whether it was email or direct message or whatever. And so I just like I've always known because you've been vocal about it and even just like Matt says on vibes, like I know that you're passionate. I know that you really like it. It kind of oozes out of you both
Oh,
directly
thank you.
and indirectly. And I think it's so cool. And I think just being you and existing as yourself in the space and now garnishing that following, it begets more followers. And it's so cool to see people like taking up that mantle. And cross stitch in particular is such an interesting art and it really is something that like most people do just kind of do as a hobby as an interesting point. And then like I harp all the time about the sewing thing, like we need young blood, we need people to get into this. You can make it a business, you can make it your craft, like whether you do that or not, like it is such a cool skill to have on yours and my part, Matt, from the design and like that passion behind making things in America and uplifting small business. Like there are so many ways in which it blends together, almost like Fabric of America. You
Nailed
see
it.
where I'm going there. But no, I want to commend you because I think just being like cool enough to put it out there, we all start putting out our stuff with like you said, minimal following. We're doing it cuz it's our business, cuz it's our passion, cuz we love it, cuz whatever. And that snowball starts to happen. And that's the coolest thing to be able to reach people, like total strangers and you're like,
I
"Oh
this it's
my."
it's cool and it's dangerous. I told my wife the other day, I said, "Babe, I have a platform. If I want, I could just preach about the dumbest stuff and people were gonna see it."
Yeah, yeah, you
With
know,
great power comes great responsibility.
yeah, it real that part is so true. I love what Melissa said because it kind of goes back to the whole this concept of what we've been talking a lot about stereotypes and expectations and people think okay, well, I'm not a 98-year-old woman, like I have no knowledge about cross stitching, like, but no, you don't need that. Same thing with me. People say, I didn't go to fashion school, I don't know anything about this, like, oh, I have no sense of style. That like qualifier you can get rid of with Instagram. You just say, "Hey, you can just be interested in it."
Mhm.
That's as qualified as you need to be. Just be interested in it. And I think that that's the coolest thing that the three of us probably do is show that you can just be a regular person who picks this up and has a hobby and it can snowball, as Melissa said, which I think is so cool. And then the second part was something awesome, which I will remember. But oh, the second part is I do like this concept of the fiber arts because I go to a lot of these markets and there's a lot of like the macrame people and everything. And there's this one friend of mine, love her to death, Kitty Nitty Creations. I saw recently that she actually follows you on Instagram. But on her, she sells plant hangers and does all this stuff. And she did something that I told her was the most genius thing possible. Where, oh, I've got one right here, actually. So she, all these plant hangers, but she started putting on the tag, she would put the price, and then she would say, uh, took 27 hours to make.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's like, I was like, that is the most genius thing. And
Smart.
because it's funny because now anybody in my life who moves or does anything, these are my go-to gifts. Because who doesn't love a plant hanger? I,
Mhm.
love giving them. And it's just like, it's not just a fun way to warm your house. It's also a acknowledgement of somebody took hours of their life
Yeah.
to make this.
A
That's
real person with hands made that. Yeah.
and Melissa and I talk about this all that's like all we talk about is just the remembering of the human beings behind the craft. And the craft can be whatever you want it to be. But we, over the last 20, 30 years, have completely put up a massive wall between finished product and who made
Person. Yeah.
and Melissa, her mission is to move the needle and get people back into sewing. And, I'm trying to get people back to like reshoring and made in America and small business. And it is just a connection with what your hands can do
Mhm.
and the creativity that comes out of it. And I think it's so beautiful that you're finding that community. I mean, it really is amazing once you start dialing into this is who I am, this is what I do, and it's received. And people say that back. I get a lot of people in my DMs who are like, "Oh, what do you think about Ben Affleck as Batman?" or something like that. And I'm like, "This is awesome. Like this is what I want to talk about with people. Like, I want to have those real human connections and the way we connected as human beings is because of our and because of what we're passionate about.
Mhm.
I think Instagram is beautiful for that.
So
Um,
going back to interacting with people, that's the one thing that I vividly remember with the guy who inspired me to make my account. I poured my heart out to him on a DM. I never got replied. I never got it looked at.
Oh,
I make it my goal. If
yeah.
you message me, I am messaging you back. If you leave a comment on my feed, I am replying to you. I'm gonna like it. I'm gonna make sure you know that I saw that you appreciated what I do.
Yeah, that's so great. It's so funny is because recently, I mean, Melissa wears the crown, uh, but recently our numbers increased wildly. And one day, Melissa woke up on a Monday with like 7,000 followers and went to bed on Friday with 32,000 followers. I woke up with like 2,000 followers and went to bed with like 6,000 followers or whatever. But it was like the same week we both kind of like spiked. But it's so interesting because the numbers are, it's kind of irrelevant what the number is because you're the same person you were on both those days.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, same thing in the DMs. It's like, I'm gonna get back to you. Yeah, I'm a human being. And sometimes I'll see messages from people and they're like, I know you guys are busy. I'm like, it's just me. And I'm sitting on the couch.
No, you
Like,
guys.
I'm in
right.
my sweats and I'm getting a message and people appreciate it. So people will send back voice notes like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you responded! Like this is so
Yeah.
great!" Like,
I mean, it's a super easy thing to do, and it's sometimes all these people crave. That's all they want. Just acknowledge them.
yeah,
Just because you get a big number doesn't mean you have the right to. No, no, not worth my time.
yeah.
Oh,
I think that's
you
great,
are.
and because everything that we're talking about is inspiration. How can you be the person who wants to inspire if you can't even talk to people?
Right.
And I still don't know how I'm inspiring people because I'm literally just making little X's off of a pattern that somebody else made. I'm just copying what they said. Hey, this is what you should do with these colors. I'm just a physical part of it. But if they like it,
Yeah,
They love it because they don't take the time to do it themselves. So they're in awe of someone with the
the
patience,
patience
no
of just
vision.
sitting.
Yep.
and it is a beautiful day in the. I mean, you're kind of like when preparation meets opportunity on the internet because now what's going viral like lawn care videos and rug
Mhm.
cleaning videos, like these random niche videos. Yeah, yeah. Here comes this like millennial guy
What
with a
they want. That's
pancake.
all it really is.
Yeah,
Even
I mean,
know they wanted.
you're like perfect for this day in the internet. And you're like, I knew that this cross stitching was gonna get a
It's
hey.
like I knew,
Yeah, exactly.
What
I didn't
day?
know when or how, but
but it did.
it did. So I I mean it's wild to believe that it's already been an hour, but
I-
Wow.
yeah,
Question.
right?
So, and I
Yeah.
think it's a good wrap up question. So some of what we've been kind of leading into is about like the future of these crafts and trades and things like that. And you have two daughters. I have two daughters. Like learning about your story too, by the way. Also
Everything, yeah.
39, two daughters,
We're almost the same. Yeah, going through the same stuff.
parallel lives, my friend. Same musical style, all the things. But what do you like, how do you approach anything like this with your kids? Like, do your kids show an interest? Are you just kind of like, hey, whatever you want to do? Like, or do you push it a little bit? Like, where do you see that kind of going into whether it's with your actual children or like just the future of cross stitching in general?
They, I mean, I sit at this kitchen table. This is where I cross stitch the majority of my time. They always know if they don't know where dad is, go to the kitchen table. There he is. They don't seem interested in it. That's fine. They can do what they want to do. I'm not going to push my beliefs, my crafts onto them. They can do, they're their own little people. But just trying to make sure that they're good little humans. So you got to raise them that way. If they want to learn, I'll teach them. My wife, she actually, she got tired of me sitting at this table and she goes, can you show me how? And I said, yes, I'll show you how. So then I hear her getting mad at little knots and little snacks. And I go, yes, yes, we've all been there. So
Now she
she did it.
understands.
Yeah, she did it. Yes. What do I do? There's a little knot. it makes a little like slip knot in the
I know
back, and I go,
exactly
you
what you're
grab
talking
this on,
about.
and then you pull. Oh, your thread's too long. That's why it's doing that. But I don't want to keep putting new ones in. Then you're gonna have the knots.
Oh, it's so funny. Do
So
you have
she
you
did a
feel like
couple.
you have patience to be a good teacher?
Yeah. Well, I love my wife. I've been with her for 25 years. I've been her friend for 25 years, and we've been married for 14 years.
I'm
And for me to be able to do cross stitch the way I do, I have loads of patience.
yeah.
That's excellent.
You know, it's so funny. You brought up that word patience. This whole time I'm thinking about patience. And I was the reason I was thinking about this word is because I was like, you have to be one of the most patient human beings that I've ever encountered because you have your hobby is cross stitching. I noticed you have a couple plants. You have
Many.
long hair, you have a beard, you have everything that takes time, like takes work, requires patience.
You
Like,
want me to talk about my sailboat too?
no,
I like to
like
do the
literally
hard hobbies.
everything that you do is just like the long form.
Right.
I find the hardest things, and
Right.
I'm like, cool.
Yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised if you had like a wood burning stove or something, you know. Um,
Well, no.
yeah. Yeah, but I think that that's so cool is that when you start to solidify every part of who you are and it really they do interact with each other. How you take care of your plants is the same care you put into your cross stitching, is the same care you put into having long hair and a beard. Like all of it kind of takes the same mechanics and you're kind of just being the more whole version of yourself. And so that's so cool that you're sharing that with the world because it's
Mhm.
clearly something that resonates with people and people want to see more of. And you know, hats off to you. I'm so glad. I'm so appreciative that Melissa reached out to you and that we got to talk. This is
I'm happy that too. Yeah.
this has been such a joy to talk to you and really
So
really appreciate you coming on.
thank you. So I think my patience, back to patience real quick, that one vivid memory I have, I won't go too depth, but my dad did not have patience. He had a phrase that he would always say, I'm a Del Rio, I don't wait for anything. He was a very big-headed man. We'll leave it at that. So I find any chance that I can be patient, I do it. I mean,
Wow.
I'll stand in line at somewhere, some of anything. Someone wants to get in front of me, go ahead. I
Oh,
I I got nowhere to be. I got nothing to do. Go right ahead.
yeah, I'm the same way. My girlfriends, my friends, whoever, whenever they hear me on the phone with customer service, they're like, how? How
Yeah.
I'm like, It's not their fault, man." Like, they've been
Not gonna get you the result any faster.
yeah, I'm like, "It's alright, you lost my reservation, I gotta sleep outside." Like, "I appreciate you
Well,
taking the call, like, what are you up to?" You know, but I think that that's something that, more than anything else, people today need to remember in the age of the internet, one click buy, next day ship, you know,
it-
swipe, swipe,
this
swipe.
on-demand generation,
Yeah.
Yep. We just need to
stuff
di-
takes time.
dial it back, you know? So, Joshua, thank you so much. This is
Thank you.
such a pleasure.
I appreciate you reaching out. Like I said, when you commented to me, I'm like, "Babe, look how many followers she's commenting to me.
Right.
Yeah,
They
we
don't
want
want me on a
Talking
podcast."
about like responding to people, like that hit home so much for me because I've been on the receiving end of that, and I've also been on the giving end, Matt, to your point, like where someone has responded and been like, "Oh my god, I can't even believe you said hi to me," whatever. And I'm like, "I'm just a person." Like, yeah,
Yeah.
cool that you reached out. Like, how fun. So, or I'll say like, "I want to help you, but this is about to get lost in my DMs. Like, shoot me an email or whatever." Because Instagram is a pain in the ass for that. But
I know you were like, if you're interested in this, and I'm like, any exposure is good exposure. I will take it.
great. Thank you. We appreciate you. I know. And again, I know we've said it, but I'm going to say it again as someone else with family and two kids and a Sunday and all the errands. So like, just thank you for your time. Really, really
Most welcome.
and your flexibility. Like when I sent you that email like midnight, it was like I can't do it in the morning.
It
So
actually worked out better too because the prior would have been me at 8 a.m. I would
No,
have like had a cup of coffee in me, and that's about it. Now I'm at like 7 cups, so I'm wondering
right.
about.
I'm the kind of guy. Yeah, and Matt's kind of guy too. Matt's a big coffee guy too.
oh yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm at my gallon. So
Yeah.
it's a
Caffeine
good
is my
day.
best friend. I didn't get too involved into it, but the other thing too is cross stitch helped me stay sober. I've been sober for over a year now, and it's because of cross stitch.
Oh
Because
really?
drinking and cross stitching, it just does not go well together.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, we gotta take 2 minutes and like add this in somewhere because so Matt is sober as well. So I don't know if you knew that.
Congrats, how long?
Coming up on 5 years.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to being 5 years.
Yeah, thank you. It's definitely like you said, the two don't mesh. So I got sober and then 2 months later, that's when I started my business. And when people bring up, um, you know, uh, how do you do this? Like, how do you stay sober? And like, life has got to be so stressful. And I'm like, yeah, but it's more about like where I put my energy. I
Yeah.
know that my life is a house of cards right now, and one drink will fuck it all up. But also, I I enjoy what I do. I want to be present for it. It's those two things that keep me sober every day. It's like I can't do what I do drunk. I can't talk to clients about how they want to be presented in the world and the story they want to tell, and I can't do justice to my manufacturers, my garment workers, the people that are like working so hard. I'm not my best self for them if I'm, the
You
drunk.
gotta give up your best.
Yeah. So, the having this, I guess, call it an outlet, it really, but it's more like I've gotten to the place where it's just replacing one addiction for another. But,
Yeah, you're basically explaining exactly what's in my head. Yes.
yeah,
You see how I am with cross stitch?
yeah,
That's how I was with alcohol.
yeah.
I don't know what dabbling into something is. I don't know if Melissa, you saw my entire back is a tattoo. I
Yeah,
do
So okay.
everything.
yeah, yeah.
It was on my about me. I have core line on my back. Yeah, my entire back. It's taken a
Yeah.
year and a half, and I've got 2 more sessions.
Oh my god. Yeah, I think I saw like the two pictures and I
Yeah,
like
side by
looked
side.
like
Yeah.
it was like, is that the same person?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but it really is like fantastic when you get that replacement. And I'm like, yeah, okay, well, me being addicted to work, uh, you know, I'm fine with that because at least I'm not driving into a tree like I was, years ago. So it's so nice to have that. And then also once you're in it, once you're doing well, then there's a community of people waiting
Mhm.
for you to connect with you and to receive your the greatness that was inside of you the whole time, except you were fucking it up yourself with alcohol. Like
Yeah.
just like I can't I feel like I'm almost trying to every day I'm still trying to buy back my time. And I'm just like, okay, I spent so many years doing that. Like I need that time back. And so I'm so excited to get to work and do what I can for people. So I really appreciate you bringing up, your sobriety and congratulations. I mean,
Thank you. Same with you. It's a thing I don't share too much. I'm not gonna get on my soapbox on my account and go, sobriety is why I do this, and I don't know. It's everyone's got their own things. If they ask me about it, I'll tell them.
yeah.
But
Yeah. I started to bring it up. Um, I'd bring it up all the time on my personal, but on my business account, I started to bring it up a little bit more and the engagement would go through the roof and the majority of people in my DMs, I'm 2 months, I'm one day, I'm thinking about it, I'm this, my partner's this. My people were like, it's incredible the chokehold that it has on so
Mhm.
many people. And
Yeah.
a lot of business owners reach out to me and were just saying, it's so nice to know that you're sober. And also, I'm really involved in the wedding community and industry. And we go to these massive networking events that have just, champagne towers and this and that. And me and my little sober crew, we go in there and we're just like, like open up a tab and keep the temples coming, and then everybody feels great. Everybody feels
Mhm.
part of it. And so I've I've started to share a little bit more on my business page about being sober. And I mean, it's nothing but like a sigh of relief from people who are just like, oh my God, this is such a humanizing moment. So
Yeah.
it's been my journey with that, not pushing it or anything, but just like it is nice to see that from a creative and a business perspective.
Mhm. It's like my next on the tarot cards, my next card that I'm gonna release is the Temperance card, which is a good opportunity for me to go, you know, I got tired of waking up feeling like absolute crap, so I made the decision. I had some intrusive thoughts, and that's when I realized this needs to stop. I have to stop doing this. And my dad was a raging alcoholic, so it's a family trait. So I'm trying to break that cycle.
That's fantastic. I really, really appreciate you saying that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you mind if we add this part into the episode?
No, that's fine. That's okay. It's like like I said, I'll be talking about it more with my next tarot card post because it's a temperance card. It's you got to have balance in things. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it it's almost like we uh we have to accept that what we have to offer, we can't pick and choose. And I've been seeing a lot more of this, and I love this, that if you're grateful for some of your life, you need to be grateful for all of your life. You got to be grateful for the bad days. You can't just pick and choose what you're happy about. And it's the same thing with, we choose to show up and be these public figures online. I can't pick and choose what I want to inspire you with. Me being an alcoholic, that's a part of me, and I'm gonna let that out. And yeah, would I love you to only focus on the beautiful handmade clothing? Sure. But this is just as real as that.
Mhm.
And so allowing people to have that other piece to latch onto has been so rewarding. And I've got my friends who will text me and say, hey, we're going into this event tonight. I'm feeling a bit squirrely. Keep an eye on me or something. And it's like, it's so nice to have those moments.
Mhm.
And it only came from sharing it online. And you know, I'm so happy that I get to help people have a job and do their manufacturing and make clothing. That's great, but having somebody keeping them sober, that's to me the greatest gift.
That's good. Yeah. It's good to see you can inspire with that too. It's another thing that helps. See, I'm hoping to inspire that we have our second Coheed cruise at the end of November. And the last time we got the dream package before I started becoming sober. So I will be going to this cruise sober with the intent of staying sober. So the people who we are going with, I said, don't offer me anything. I I can give in easily in that situation because it's going to be everywhere. Plus, you've got an entire ship of 3,500 people that are all about three quarters of them are all drinking.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a test, and if I can make it past that, I can make it to 5 years like you're at. It's easy here at home because I don't do anything. I don't go out.
Yo, yeah, staying sober at home, people are like, "You live alone, isn't that dangerous?" I'm like, "I don't give a fuck. I'm not
No,
gonna
it's
drink when
easier
I'm
at home.
drink like I'm alone." Like, no, but it is like when you go out, it is crazy. But last night I had a guys' night, and all my friends came over, and they're all very respectful, but I also feel it makes me more uncomfortable when people are on edge. So
Yeah.
I'm like, just bring your own beer, like it's fine. So that everybody came over. But at the end of the night, my recycle bin was filled with beer cans. And one of my buddies is like, I'll throw it away for you. And like just that's I texted him after. I was like, dude, thank you so much for doing that. Cause it reeked of beer. And it's like, yeah, if I'm home alone with that, that's where the problem comes in.
Yeah.
But like, just those subtle all it takes is like one text, one message, one, hey, I got you. And that's what helps me. This episode's gonna be like
Sorry.
9 hours long.
I realized that we are basically the same person, just about.
Pretty
All
much.
three of us are one great person. We're just
Yeah.
we're like the Power Rangers. We just come.
We combine.
Assembled. Yeah, exactly.
I
Where
was
can
worried
people-
we're
where-
gonna get an hour.
Yeah. Where
I
can
was
people
kind of
find
stressing.
you? Where can people find you?
My Instagram, cross stitch in Cambria. That's really the only thing I have right now for the cross stitch. As of now, I have a TikTok, but it's just I literally use TikTok to make my videos that I upload to Instagram. So
Hilarious.
That's awesome. Perfect. All right, Joshua. Well, thank you. And thank you to the listener for tuning in to another episode of The Fabric of America.
thank you guys. Now you can watch me not know how to close out of this. Oh, there it is. Steve. Okay. Bye. And now I don't know how to close out of this one. Wait.
Yeah.
Oh, leave meeting. No, it says leave. Okay, bye. Oh, wait. No updates. Okay, now I gotta leave this one.
We will add a blooper reel. Well, listen, just end him. Just kick him out of the meeting.
God help me. I shouldn't. Put me out. I don't.
Ugh, this is hard to watch. All right.
Removed him. Sorry, Joshua.